Hi guys. Okay, so here I am back with The Secret Zoo. Here's just a picture if you didn't get to see it before. And I wanted to read the second chapter to you. Hope you liked the first chapter. I asked a couple of you what you think was going to happen next and how you think the monkeys got out. So let me get started. I didn't quite finish that last chapter. I realized there was a little part after that says after the discovery on October 2nd. 14 red-eye leaf frogs hopped down the long zoo corridor, jumping and tumbling over one another as they scrambled forward. Pop, pop, pop. The sticky pads of their feet slapped the floor and sounded like exploding miniature firecrackers. 100 aquariums lined the walls. Occasionally a leapfrog sideways and stuck to the glass for a few seconds. The 14 red-eyed leaf frogs hopped into a small exhibit at the end of the corridor, the special exhibit that a young girl had sneaked into just minutes earlier. They found exactly what they feared. Nothing. The girl was gone. 3 sheets of notebook paper lay on the ground, colorful red pages with purple lined and blue stars on the corner. Torn and crinkled, the pages were still fluttering as they settled on the floor. The 14 leaf frogs didn't know the pages were from the diary of a girl named Megan Nowicki, who months earlier had spotted monkeys escaping from the zoo. They stared at the pages. Then, whipping the sheets with their long, sticky tongues, 3 leaf frogs picked them up. So the story begins. The beginning, October 23rd. Missing. Noah scooped up the paper and read the words a second time. He walked the rest of the street with his eyes fixed on the grainy black and white photograph of his sister and the word that had haunted him for 3 weeks, missing. Until recently, he'd associated the word with minor misplacement like keys or his baseball glove, but now it described his sister. On her way to a piano lesson 3 weeks earlier, Megan had stepped off the porch, walked down the street, and never been seen again. She simply disappeared. In the first days after her disappearance, she was all anyone could ever think about. Her picture was posted on every storefront window and telephone pole within 100 miles. County residents had united to search for her. They walked hand in hand across open fields, scoured deep into the woods, and door to door in distant communities, hoping someone had seen her. Their search spanned days, weeks, but after 3 weeks there was still no sign of Megan. And though no one had said the words, people clearly had given up. Determined to find his sister, Noah began his own search and called upon his 2 best friends, Ella and Richie, to help him. For most of their lives, Ella, Richie, Megan, and Noah had been members of a club called Action Scouts. Their club was like most others. They had a fort, a name, secret passwords, and private meetings. What made the Action Scouts special was that it was their club based on their unique friendship. So powerful was the Scouts' friendship that they believed they were inseparable. And Noah, Ella, and Richie hoped this would bring Megan home. It didn't. Now, 3 weeks after Megan's disappearance, Noah found himself gazing at her picture as he walked across his backyard. Minutes ago, he found the flyer in the street. It had probably been blown off of a telephone pole. "Meg, where are you?" he whispered. The wind snapped the edges of the flyer. Noah gave it a final look and stuffed it into his pocket. He stopped in front of the big oak tree in his backyard. Nailed to it was a weather-beaten sign with faded paint. He'd made it years ago with Megan, Ella, and Richie. The sign read, "You are now entering Fort Scout. Do not enter." It might as well have read, "Welcome. Now go away." He stared high into the tree. 20 feet above most was Fort Scout, set in a tangle of tree limbs. It was the most elaborate tree fort he had ever seen. It had a roof, 2 doors, and 4 windows. It had 3 points of entry, a ladder, a rope, and a spiral staircase that circled the trunk and ended at a hole at the floor. Long rope bridges connected to the fort to far-off trees. Noah climbed the stairs and stepped into the fort. His footsteps thumped on the wooden planks. The fort was filled with stuff, tables and chairs and games and jackets. A pile of equipment lay on one side of the tables. Tools, batteries, and strange electrical objects that looked like metal bugs. These belonged to Richie, a whiz with gadgets. He was always working on what claimed to be high-tech spy equipment. Noah stared out the window at the empty gray sky and heard nothing but the sound of wind. He headed across one of the rope bridges towards a lookout platform. The bridge creaked and swayed. On the platform, he looked towards the Clarkville City Zoo. 2 elephants, a giraffe, and a tiger were in his view, sleeping in their compounds, but mostly the zoo looked empty and sad. Looking down on the zoo from the height of the platform made Noah think of the night Megan had insisted she'd spotted monkeys on the rooftop. He remembered standing beside her, scanning the darkness for a sign of anything unusual. He had seen nothing, certainly no runaway zoo animals. From that night until the day she disappeared, Megan had acted differently. She'd been distant and preoccupied, like a person with a secret. Sometimes Noah had weird thoughts. Sometimes he wondered if the zoo had something to do with her disappearance. Megan, after all, had claimed she'd spotted animals escaping. Maybe she had. Worse, maybe she wasn't supposed to. Perhaps she put herself in some kind of danger just by seeing them. Could the animals have come for her, kidnapped her, because something bad was going to happen at the zoo? These were ridiculous ideas, and Noah knew it. He was stressed, and the stress was making him think crazy things. Still, if the ideas were so crazy, why did they keep coming back? Noah looked away from the zoo. He wondered where Megan was, if she was okay, and whether she'd ever make it home. He bumped his toe on the short flagpole and lay on the platform. The flag was red and with large white letters, A and S. He picked it up and held it in the air. The Action Scouts distress flag, he muttered. 2 years earlier, Richie's grandfather, an Army veteran, had given the kids an idea of making distress flags. He said it was if the Scouts became separated, they'd need a way to communicate trouble, and the distress flag had been his best answer. He talked Richie's grandmother into making one for each of the children and one for Fort Scout. Noah fitted the pole into the spot in the tree. The flag waved and the A and S rippled in the breeze. He looked across the yard and into the street. Part of him hoped Ella or Richie would see the flag and come running. If not Ella or Richie, then anyone who could help him get his sister back and his old life. Noah waited almost a half hour. No one came. Finally, the cold got the best of him. He climbed down from Fort Scout, entered the house, and went to bed early. As he lay beneath the covers, he imagined Megan, her warm smile and her sisterly love. Eventually, he drifted to sleep. Shortly before midnight, he woke up to tap, tap, tap on his bedroom window. That is the end of chapter 2. I wonder who is at his window. And I miss you guys. I hope that you are doing some fun things and still reading. I see a lot of you on Get Epic, so keep it up. I'm proud of you guys. I will see you tomorrow on the same video for the next chapter. Bye, guys.